Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Ivan and I would like to officially welcome you guys for joining me today on our podcast today to the Apple studio.
Hello.
So how are you guys doing?
I'm good. It's been quite a busy few weeks. I have deadlines.
I'm also have been fine, just a bit busy with all the psychology thingies. Yeah.
Yes, I'm currently busy with a few things, but still chill.
Okay, so I know you guys are hearing some voices and some faces that you're looking at and you're wondering who these people are. Why are they suddenly here? Okay, first up we have FIRDAUS HIDAYAT, who is a novelist. A little words please.
Quite up and new. I write novels or everything. I do write poetry as well. But I've had the honor of having won award recently. And perhaps I have some news for the podcast on Hanaka, right?
Yeah. Little spoiler alert. So we will be analyzing the book from Hanaka today. So right next we have NOOR HAYATI, who is a psychologist.
Hi, Ben. So yeah, I'm a psychologist from University Science Malaysia. Currently, I want to analyze a bit regarding the mental health issues in the novel of Hannah Akraf.
And lastly, we have our history professor, Miss JAFNI.
So, hi, I'm a history professor, specializing in the Southeast Asian history. I'm actually very thrilled coming here today where we will analyze about Akraf's novel.
What we are going to be analyzing today is Hannah Akraf's Weight of Oscar. Okay, and one of the key questions that we are going to be experimenting or actually looking into more is to what extent would you argue that Hannah Akraf's novel is more millennial in spirit than representative of the late 60s or the time of the May 13th incident in its narrative style and approach to the theme of nation building. Okay, but before that, I would like to actually give a small summary, okay, on this entire book. Okay, if you haven't read the book and you don't want the spoilers, you guys can skip through this part for a while. So The Weight of the Sky by Hannah Akraf is a historical fiction novel, we can say, that talks about the incidents during May 13th in 1969, where there was a racial riot in Kuala Lumpur. It talks about this girl called Melati, who is a 16-year-old Malay girl. And we can see her OCD obsession and her, you can see experience with beliefs of jinns and a lot of other struggles that she had throughout the story, because she will be separated from her mother, and this journey is about getting back to her mother. Okay, there's a lot of themes that is being explored here, such as mental health, cultural beliefs, resilience, and how racial conflict is very important as well, because we Malaysians, as a multiracial country, although we disagree that we don't have any racial conflicts, we still do.
It's a relative.
It happens because we are from different backgrounds of people and we're still trying to coexist with each other. So it happens sometimes, okay, but we can tell that May 13th is one of the blackest days for us. Okay, so this is basically what The Weight of Oscar is about. Okay, the 16-year-old girl who gets lost from her mother and is trying to find a way to her mother, and it's about the journey, the experience of getting back to her mother, and the psychological effects and the physical effects is being explained by Hannah Akraf in this novel. Okay, so this is basically what we are going to be analyzing. This is the story actually. So to start it off, Mr. FIRDAUS, actually, I have a question for you, okay? How does Hanan Alkaf's storytelling style appeal to millennial readers compared to older generations?
Okay, having read the story, first of all, even though I'll start from the top. In the novel, when you are writing a novel as an author, when you are writing a novel, you try to find that narration, the point. Where are you trying to solve or talk about the issue? From which point are you entering the issue? So this entry point might look similar, especially with old generation novels that the millennial period. But Hannah Alkaf, being a millennial herself, even though she's writing about something that happened in the 50s, 60s, or until the early 21 or living history, you can see that there are some points. I'm going to get a little bit technical over here. In literature, we have something called settings. You remember from the school later. Settings are between the place of time. So the time is always there. The major thing is talked about. A lot of literature is about poetry or something. But this novel particularly talks about the settings that are quite close to the movie. It starts off with a theatre. Doesn't talk about the piece. It's not like it's not talking about or that's part of the movement of our religious literature. However, the start of the story is about school kids going to a theatre to let them steam off, to have fun, to have entertainment during that time. So that's quite millennial in itself, in spirit. And not only that, you can see in the characterization as well when Melati, Safia, Vincent and all some other minor characters and main characters as well. These are not, even though they are traditional in a sense, they are still millennial in spirit. Especially they are painted so that they are closer to the millennial reader. Because as we can see, they like everything. They make the theatre, and Safia is kind of rebellious kid, but the best friend of Melati is quite the dormant one, shy one. It's always Safia, hey, let's go to the theatre. It starts, the scene opens with that.
I would agree up to a point where this millennial point of view, to approach to a younger generation to introduce about, the May 13th incident. Is it a black stain in our society? Yes, it is, but it is a stain that we should not forget. How we learn about history.
Yeah.
Why do we do that? Why do we learn about history? So that it never repeats again, right? So why not learn about this as well? The May 13th. Yes, it's kind of seen as taboo, okay? But it is also important to know it so that we don't have another May 13th happening. So that's why I have a question to Ms. Jafni. Can you explain the significance of May 13th, 1969 riots in Malaysia history and how it serves as a backdrop for the weight of our time?
To actually understand the heart of Alkaf novel, we must first revisit the incident on the May 13th, 1969, riots in Kuala Lumpur and a dark perimeter chapter in Malaysian history. In the novel, Alkaf sets against this turbulent backdrop, bringing the era to life through the eyes of Melati, a 16-year-old Malay girl. And what's remarkable is how Alkaf intertwines this historical setting with Melati's personal battle against obsessive compulsory disorder, which is or OCD. And Melati's struggles mirror the chaos around her. The societal divisions and her inner turmoil create a vivid dual narrative of conflict, which one external and one is deeply personal. This layered storytelling gives readers a poignant glimpse into both the historical reality and the emotional state at that time.
So, one of the key components in this novel is mentions of, Melati's OCD psychologist. I have a question. Hanan Alkaf personifies Melati's OCD through her encounters with the jinn, How does this blend of cultural beliefs and modern psychology adapt to the story? Like, what do you think?
So yeah, for me, what I think is, so first let's take a look on how the millennial spirit happened, on how that when you say that the jinn are represented in the novel. Now imagine in the late 60s and so on, how people adapt to this kind of mental health. But when you said that how Melati, the main character, faced the jinn and so on, so this is because of the mother's belief, which is the superstitious thing and so on. So how her mother's superstitious is explains these conditions. So basically, this jinn kind of thing is not happening. I think it's not happening in other culture, other races, but mostly we as a Muslim, we believe in jinn because it might, for someone who believe that, you're gonna face them, but it's not happened to all of the Muslim and so on. Yeah, so I think that one was of the things how the Melati faced the jinns.
So in this context, the jinn is it like an angel or a demon, like in Muslim context?
It's neither.
Yeah, it's neither.
It's a totally other being.
Yep.
The jinn is a totally other being, which is outside of angels and demons.
So basically, we could say that the jinn things are basically the belief of the traditional person long time ago. But recently, it's happening like psychological terms. We're not gonna use that kind of teaching thing and so on, because some of us are not believe on that. But in, like I said, in the Muslim things, Muslim belief, yeah, we still on that things, but not to the young adults right now.
Perhaps they couldn't explain the mental health issues that they are wondering to see.
So it's also giving a context of jinn and the culture behind Muslims for the other people through this as well. If you don't mind, Jafni, I'm going back to you. How does the focus on Melati's journey, okay, highlight the importance of individual struggles and resilience in shaping and making the identity?
So, Melati's mental health struggles provide a personal lens to which readers can engage with the story. And this focus on individual trauma, which it can overshadow the broader historical context of the May 13 riots. The portrayal of Melati's mental health issues may serve as a metaphor for the collective trauma experienced by communities affected by the riots. And by centering on Melati's emotional journey, the narratives invite readers to empathize with her personal challenges, potentially diverting attention from the collective memory and significance of the riot.
Since we're on this topic on her journey, we know how much hardships she went through during the journey, right? So, Firdaus, I have a question for you. What can readers take away about resilience and trauma through Melati's literary elements in The Weight of Our Sky?
Okay, I can't help but get technical. If you see the plot point again, we have seen in the literary culture when a novelist writes a novel, they get help but have a trope, a common trope. This trope of nicotine is always that savior saves. In the climate of chaos, there is an auntie saying Melati when she was trying to escape, saying that she is Eurasian, that's why she doesn't look Chinese during the riots. So if you see in the plot, during the exposition, the first introductory part of the story, the introduction is nice. It's just, it seeps into that. Just a person and then suddenly conflict erodes. But even in that exposition, even though it systematically tells the starting of the story, you can see her obsession with her counting of threes and tap into things or something like that. But that is a really nice way Al-Kaf is trying to paint the story or paint the character, trying to build the characterization, see? And in the climax, as for us who have read the novel, it's actually also always that recurring theme of resilience. She doesn't give up, she just wants to get to her mother. You can't, of course, when you read the novel, you can just say that, why did she not just do this and that and that and that? But this is a chaotic environment. This can't be helped. And at the end, spoiler alert, at the end, even though that friend died, but she is reunited with her mother, even though after all the hardships, she just focuses on one thing. I'm not a psychologist, so perhaps because she is so very focused on that, perhaps because of her OCD, compulsiveness,
Yep.
or obsession to get.
Yep.
Yeah, most people, perhaps without a mental disorder, would just give up.
Yeah.
To me, it was a very cliche kind of novel. You know, there's an introduction, and then there's a climax. There's a story body, then there's a climax, and then there's a downfall to the of the friend. And then there's a concluding ending where she ends up with her mother. You know, if you read it as like a normal reader, it wouldn't captivate you much if you're not from the culture. You know, if you're not a Malaysian, you know, you wouldn't understand the essence of why this was very important. Okay, because you wouldn't be able to relate with it. Because for other people, it's war. You know, because if you see that when the British, when they tried to conquer other parts of the world, it was the Brits versus, for example, let's say Japanese, the Brits versus Koreans, the Brits versus Malaysians. It's two different cultures only for them. But when it comes to us, it's two different cultures within our country, you know. We're all Malaysians, you know, despite being Malaysians, we're fighting with Chinese and Malays, you know. So if you're not from the circle of Malaysia, or you don't have the complex understanding of May 13th, you know, I don't think you'll be able to understand the core essence of this novel and find it cliche as well. But if you do have, like, you know, some kind of understanding of it, you'll find, although the basics of it is cliche, the way the story goes gives us more understanding and in-depth experience that we can personally feel while reading the novel. And since we're talking on resilience and trauma, our psychologist, I have a question for you, which is, how does the novel help in destigmatizing mental health issues, especially in the Malaysian context? Because if you ask me personally, these days a lot of students have been seen as, you know, just for the smallest thing, they will be like, oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I don't think I'm capable of doing. Oh, I'm having a panic attack. You know, the adult world, they didn't claim themselves like that. They don't voice it up. You know, the way the youngsters have been voicing up. So, how do you think this is helping to destigmatize, you know, this mental health issue?
Okay, so how to destigmatizing this kind of mental health issue? I would say that for this novel, the portrayal of Melati when he was, what do we call it? When she was clarified having an OCD. So on that moment, most of the people of the surrounding says that she is the problems, the process, because of most of the people on that moment didn't know regarding this kind of mental health issues and so on. They didn't understand what is OCD and so on. So they just know that Melati is problematic and possessed by something. So how to destigmatize this is maybe through what do we call it? When you are having kind of problems like panic attack and so on, so So you just need to tell someone that you trust, and also seek for help. And at the same time, make sure that you are seek help from the true sources, not go to your best friend and so on. And they will just like, you know,
Brush it off.
yeah, just I'm a psychiatrist, so just come to me. So yeah, it's kind of that.
Professional help.
Yeah, do not take like the other person. Yeah, so I think that's how to take it out.
So do you think that because of like usage of OCD and everything in context of the 60s, this also helps to viewpoint it as a millennial novel?
Okay, so you said that how the mental issues has been built in the 60s, how this.
Yeah, because in the novel, it's the context of the timeline is still in the 60s, but there was like an obvious viewpoint of OCD and mental health issues that has been listed out over there in the novel. So doesn't this help make it a millennial book because of it?
Yeah, so this, I would say that it would really help in making this as a millennial book because of it's still happening until today. Yeah, the kind of mental health, because of back then people did not understand, but right now we have our own basic knowledge regarding these terms and so on. When we are going to the like kind of college or university, we will have like kind of basic knowledge regarding that. When people are having a problem, the lecturer would say that you need to seek help and so on and so on. So I think this is a millennial portrait for us to make sure that we are able to find help if we have a problem.
People have educated themselves to
Yeah,
find help.
we need to educate ourselves.
Right. So I've learned a lot from everyone, because when I read this novel personally, as a moderator, like we always analyze book in our podcast, and our shows, and then because of this, I was just reading this book as it is. Do I know what happened during May 13th, 1969? Personally, I don't think so. I've only had experience and I read about it. I've seen it. I have to time travel back, maybe. But listening from different point of views of you guys, it helped me understand the incident more. So I would like to see that how because of the way it was written, okay, and the history that has been used, and the mental health and issues that has been voiced and pointed out in the novel, it helps to viewpoint it as a millennial book compared to the 1960s released book. Because back then, mental health was also another taboo subject,
Exactly.
Because let's say if you said you have OCD, they won't grade you as OCD, they will grade you as crazy.
Yes.
It's like a different.
They don't even understand OCD at that point in time.
The amount of research and understanding for people for those kind of contexts was not that much. And then we can also see how, by blending in different cultures, and trying to understand the cultures, being friends with cultures, the concept of Eurasian, So this kind of things, this Eurasian kind of things, it was still very new, It's like, did we have Eurasians back then? Yes, we did. But did we pointed them up? No. They were still, we were still so new to freedom. We didn't get our independence too long before that, So this, this wording, some specific words that were used can showcase how this entire novel looks more kind of like a millennial perspective rather than the 90s, 60s, And then the reimagining of history, that is one of the most important things. Like I feel like that showcases the millennial part of this book, because the timeline for this book is 1960s, but the way we are reliving it, although even Hanan Alkaf, the author, if I'm not mistaken, she's in her 30s right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Being in her 30s, I'm very sure she did not experience 1969 by herself as well. But we would all have heard stories. And the way she reimagined it in the words of a youngster, so that the younger generation would be able to read this and also know about it. Because let's all agree, even though we all know about May 30, 1969, do we talk about it?
No, we know.
Yeah, we don't talk about it, but we know about it.
That's why we write about it.
Yeah.
Try.
We don't speak in public about it. We don't make a presentation out of it. We don't, because it's a very taboo topic. Do we all regret it happened? Yes. Do we all expect it to happen again? No. So this kind of works helps us to actually aim and dream. It's something that we can grasp for. I think we had a very fruitful discussion today on Hanan Al-Qas, the rid of our sky.
Two people help you.
So, thank you to FIRDAUS, our novelist,
Thank you for inviting
to
us. also.
Hayati, our psychologist, and Miss Daphne, our
been amazing.
historian professor. Okay, and that's all from us today. Signing off from the Yappa studio.
Hopefully.
Till we yap again next time.
Yeah.
Thank you. THEEBENRAJ here signing off.